Hello, everybody. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. What this is today is a story about a guy who I wondered might have been the one who under my home that had shot me with my phone lines cut. And the reason is because the news was reporting that he was wanted for capital attempted murder, and so. When he got arrested, all them charges mysteriously just disappeared. And he had tried to kill cops. He shot at cops, tried to run over cops, and all of a sudden all the charges just disappeared, And it was just bizarre. And then the news stories where the news had reported it, they were deleting the news stories. But old buddy took screenshots. You know how I do that, right? And so it's kind of hard to deny it now. Anyway, I'm gonna read this to you. I said about a year after I survived being shot by somebody under my home with my phone lines cut and burglar alarms going off in the attic, I sent an email to some elected leaders in law enforcement which said, did they legalize murder and not tell me about it? Right after I sent this, I saw in the news that the police were looking for a guy named Eric Chris Perez, or Chris Eric Perez. He was wanted for capital attempted murder and other crimes out of Lubbock County. For this reason, I wondered if he was the guy under my home that shot me. And I knew there was a neighbor that lived in the Westmont Ct cul-de-sac named Perez, but I didn't know if they were related. My alley touches or leads to that alley. Attempted murder becomes a capital offense when it's done during the commission of a felony. And in my case, the felony was the burglary of a habitation. They had sneaked in my home before they cut my phone lines and shot me. And the ex-wife told me that my oldest daughter, Jennifer, had been raped. She lived over in Lubbock for a while. And that was the other thing. They said Eric was wanted for crimes out of Lubbock County. Jenn has angrily denied this, but my ex-wife had told me in a way that convinced me. She said, you would have been proud of her. She fought back hard. And that's exactly what Jennifer would do. She's my mini-me. She quit talking to me after I survived the murder attempt with no reason given and claims to know nothing about the crimes at my home in Midland, but I suspected that she does after finding out that she is sending secret emails to MPD detective Rosie Rodriguez a few hours after I'd been shot. And Rosie, now it's proof shown where she falsified police records, she tampered with the evidence. She perjured herself in court. Then this was all to cover up this home invasion premeditated murder attempt on my life. On January 3rd, 2013, I called the Midland Police Department and I told them that I saw a guy in my cul-de-sac who looked like Eric Perez. He was across the street. It looked like he was changing vehicles while carrying loads of laundry. He was somebody that I hadn't seen here before, okay? Looked just like this guy right here that they were showing in the news, okay? Okay. The guy was gone before the police arrived, and these law enforcement officers said they were the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force. I offered to show them my security cameras, which showed who I believed to be the guy wanted for capital attempted murder. When they walked into my home, a motion detector went off in the attic. Beep, beep, beep. I made about 100 videos of that. I was shot with burglar alarms going off in my attic, I saw a guy in my attic. I mean, it's not a what if, could be. 50 other homeowners documented reported people in the attic. They asked what it was, and I told them that was another home invasion, and I explained that I'd been shot with burglar alarms going off the attic. I later saw where these police officers, Michael Hedrick, Nathan Land, and David Haywood, omitted this fact from the police report and then falsely labeled me as 1096. They called me crazy. Okay, that's the modus operandi for covering up this organized crime. And so these are three more law enforcement officers who I strongly suspect are involved in covering up the crimes and murders connected with the underground homes. It's organized crime, racketeering. At that time, I didn't know there was $1 million underground home in my backyard, but I bet they did. And real police, legitimate police officers that are not falsifying police reports or attacking innocent crime victims reporting crime, should ask them. While looking at the cameras, they got a call and told me that Eric had been spotted at Grimsley Motor, so they had to leave. Okay. The timing was real suspicious, as it was obvious the criminals in the attic saw what I was doing, and so maybe that was on purpose. We'll report this over here. Devin Sanchez with News West 9 reported that Eric Perez had escaped authorities 3 times. She wrote, first, last week in Martin County, 25-year-old Eric Perez led deputies on a wild goose chase, shot at officers, and even tried to run a deputy over. Okay, and I have the article on that. What she didn't say in this news article is that she was married to Martin County Sheriff John Woodward, and it was his deputies that Eric Perez tried to kill. 5 years later, Empire Private Investigations identified Woodward as the first law enforcement officer seen at my home after I'd been shot with my phone lines cut. Okay. He had been dispatched by Martin County or Midland County, as I checked both of them, and his name was illegally omitted from the police reports. For this reason, I suspect that Woodward was under my home when I was shot by somebody under my home on January 28, 2012. That was the Martin County Sheriff, the husband of Devin Sanchez. Reporter Devin Sanchez also wrote, on Thursday he was spotted inside Kelly Grimsley Kia in Odessa. Police arrived, and again the chase was on. Perez took off on foot, and after a couple hours, the search was called off. That was the day that I called him here to my house. This happened right after I'd called the police to report that I believe I saw Chris Perez here by my home with baskets of laundry. The next day, Eric Perez was arrested in Odessa along with Sonny Kunkel. This is where it gets real weird, because the charges for capital attempted murder that he was originally wanted for were never talked about again. Devin Sanchez did an exclusive interview with Eric, who talked about why you shouldn't run from the police without any mention of him shooting at or trying to run over Martin County deputies that worked for her secret police husband. On December 29, 2013, I sent myself an email and said, News West 9 changed their story and is now saying that Eric's wanted for fraudulent identities. There was no retraction from last night's story of him being wanted for attempted capital murder. I got print screens proving it, though. I noticed today my next door neighbor's son's red Camaro had been in an accident. This was the email that I sent. There's a dent on the driver's right side front panel. Was this a stolen Camaro reported in the story? And I have the story showing where Perez took a Camaro, and the next thing I know, I see the neighbor's Camaro wrecked. I seen a what do you call it? A trucker, or where they put it on the back of a truck and hauled it off. A wrecker come in, hauled that vehicle off because it was wrecked, and this is right after I was reading Perez stole a Camaro, tried to kill cops with it. Okay. And I saw a vehicle get loaded on a record that hauled away. Law enforcement could check those records or just ask a neighbor who I've suspected had a tunnel entrance in his backyard. During the same time, I took a screenshot of a comment posted on one of my Facebook news stories. Mario Morales Sr. wrote about Sonny Kunkel, the girl arrested with Eric. The woman who had been arrested along with Eric. And he said, Laura, you're right, but there are miles of difference from being perfect to harboring a criminal that tried to kill someone. And I wondered if he was talking about me. This guy is tied to a drug cartel. Huge difference. I've got a print screen of that. In June 2019, 6 years later, I spoke with News West 9 producer named Jacqueline. I drove up to News West 9. I went into their building and tried to get a copy of the broadcast from News West 9 saying he's wanted for capital attempted murder. I was going to put it on Facebook, but I was told that all data before 2014 was accidentally deleted. Are you seeing that, a pattern here of this deleting? I told them that I had proof of selective deletions that were made too. After talking to the News West 9 representative, who I suspected was a friend of Devin Sanchez, more news stories were deleted. Okay. And I have proof of that I just had it. I made a video showing proof of this called Wanted for Capital Attempted Murder. It's my understanding that Devin Sanchez and John Woodward got divorced. He goes on to be arrested and pleads guilty to assault without any prison time, so now he's a felon, and she gets a job at the Odessa Police Department as the city director of communication. That's suspicious in itself. I suspect that all of these people may have information on the crimes connected with the underground homes. I put a link to that video. I want to show you here. Here's that news December 28th, and where it's showing right here, he tried to run over sheriff's deputies, and right here, he's wanted for capital attempted murder. That's what they're saying. And all of a sudden, that's gone. Okay. And here I'm going to show you just a little bit here. Okay.
425.
See, and this is that video.
And then one more here. Okay. And then this last one here. Okay. And then what I did is I went up, I had a screenshot from actually December 28, 2012.
One I just showed you.
One of these stories from News West 9 that was selectively deleted. And I spoke to, I believe it's a producer, maybe Jacqueline, something like that. I had a long conversation, told her my entire story. And I told her about, that these news stories were selectively deleted. And she said all data since 2014 before that was accidentally deleted. They couldn't get no information. And so I said, well, not all of it's deleted, because here's this I'd all found. There's like 5 or 6 stories here that are still online, but some of them with the same dates are deleted. Okay, so here I am today doing more research, and today is April 30th, 5 days later after I spoke with the News West 9 rep. And watch this. I'm gonna click on this link. It's gone.
It's gone.